Shadows in the void. The void between stars held many secrets, but Commander Lena Reeves never expected to find one quite like this. The UES Pathfinder had been charting the borders of the Orion Arm for 6 months when their long-range scanners detected the anomaly. A massive vessel drifting silently through the emptiness, its enormous hull absorbing rather than reflecting light. "Preliminary scans complete, Commander," Lieutenant Park reported from the sensor station, his voice tight with controlled excitement. "The vessel is approximately 4 kilometers in length. No active power signatures detected. No response to standard hailing frequencies." Lena leaned forward in her command chair, studying the image on the main view screen. The ship was unlike anything in human records, angular and imposing, covered in what appeared to be weapon ports and armored plating. "Looks military," observed Security Chief Valquez, her hand unconsciously moving to the pulse pistol at her hip, possibly a dreadnought or carrier class. Dr. Shen, the Pathfinder's exobiologist, shook his head. "Military, yes, but whose? It matches no known design from the Arturian Collective, the Vega Confederacy, or even the Proxima Hegemony. Whatever it is," said Chief Engineer Okonkwo, his deep voice resonating across the bridge, "it's been adrift for a long time. Look at the micrometeor scoring on the hull. That takes centuries to accumulate." Lena made her decision. "Prepare a boarding team. Valquez, Okonkwo, Dr. Shen, you're with me. Lieutenant Park, you have the con. Maintain position at safe distance and keep sensors at maximum sensitivity. If anything so much as twitches out there, I want to know about it." The shuttle journey to the derelict vessel was tense and silent. As they drew closer, the true scale of the ghost ship became apparent. It dwarfed the Pathfinder, which itself was the largest exploration vessel in Earth's fleet. "The hull appears to be composed of an unknown alloy," Okonkwo noted, examining his portable scanner. "Remarkably dense. Readings suggest it might be some form of neutronium composite." "That's impossible," Valks said flatly. "No known engineering process can manipulate neutronium." "No human engineering process," Dr. Shen corrected quietly. They located what appeared to be a maintenance airlock on the vessel's underside. After 30 minutes of careful analysis, Okonkwo managed to interface their equipment with the alien technology and cycle the lock. Inside, their helmet lights cut through darkness that seemed absolute. The corridors were massive, clearly designed for beings larger than humans, and every surface was covered in intricate patterns that might have been aesthetic decoration or written language. "Atmosphere present," Dr. Shen reported, checking his equipment. "Nitrogen-oxygen mix, slightly higher oxygen content than Earth normal. Trace elements within tolerable parameters. Keep your helmets sealed for now," Lena ordered. "We don't know what microorganisms might be present." They moved deeper into the vessel, following corridors that seemed to spiral inward toward the ship's center. Everything they encountered reinforced their initial impression of a military vessel, what appeared to be barracks, armories filled with devices that could only be weapons, and vast chambers that resembled hangars for smaller craft. "This confirms it," Valk said, examining what looked like a tactical operations center. This was a warship, and based on its size and capabilities, it was built for large-scale conflict. Lena wasn't so certain. "Then where are the crew quarters? Where's the command center?" "Everything feels impersonal." "Perhaps their species doesn't sleep," Dr. Shen suggested. "Or maybe the crew areas are in another section." Okonkwo, who had been scanning the walls, suddenly stopped. "Commander, I'm detecting power fluctuations. Very faint, but they're there. This ship isn't dead, it's dormant." As if responding to his words, the patterns on the walls began to glow with a soft blue light. The team froze as a low hum vibrated through the deck plates beneath their feet. "Nobody move," Lena whispered. The humming grew louder, and sections of the wall they'd thought solid began to shift and reconfigure. A holographic display materialized before them, showing symbols racing across its surface. "It's scanning us," Okonkwo said, watching his equipment. Some kind of radiation sweep, harmless, but thorough. The symbols stopped scrolling, and a single glyph pulsed at the center of the display. I think it's waiting for input, Dr. Shen said. Commander. Valkaz's voice came sharply over the comm. We've got company. Multiple vessels just emerged from FTL at the edge of the system. Configuration unknown, but they're on an intercept course. Before Lena could respond, the ship around them shuddered. The blue light intensified, and a holographic display expanded to show a tactical view of nearby space. 7 vessels, sleek, predatory shapes bristling with obvious weapons, were approaching rapidly. They're hailing us. Park's voice came through from the Pathfinder. Audio only. Translators are having difficulty. But a harsh, clicking voice cut through the channel. Attention foreign entities. You have awakened the World Eater. Remove yourselves immediately or be destroyed with it. You have 30 standard units to comply. World Eater. Lena echoed. As if in response, the holographic display before them changed again, showing the history of the vessel they stood within. They watched in astonishment as the ship, far different in appearance than its current form, approached wounded planets, enveloping them in energy fields that transformed devastated wastelands into thriving ecosystems. It's not a warship, Dr. Shen breathed. It's a terraforming vessel, the most advanced I've ever seen. The display shifted to show confrontations with vessels similar to those now approaching, violent encounters where the terraformer was attacked but never returned fire, only defended itself. Commander, Okonkwo said urgently, the ship is powering up its systems. Defense matrices coming online. He pointed to another section of the display. And look at this. It's trying to establish communication with the approaching vessels. We need to help it, Lena decided. Dr. Shen, work with Okonkwo. See if you can interface with the ship's communication systems. We need to make those approaching vessels understand what this ship really is before they attack. Too late, Valks said grimly, pointing to the tactical display. The approaching ships had opened fire. The ghost ship shuddered as energy weapons impacted its shields. To Lena's surprise, the vessel did not return fire. Instead, it positioned itself between the Pathfinder and the attackers, absorbing blasts meant for the human ship. It's protecting us, Lena realized. Okonkwo had removed a panel from the wall and was working furiously with the circuitry inside. I think I can boost our translator signal through the ship's communication array, he said. If I can just. The ship lurched violently as a particularly powerful blast struck it. Lights flickered, and for a moment, the humming stopped. Get it online, Lena ordered. Now. Dr. Shen joined Okonkwo, their fingers dancing across their equipment. Almost there, the engineer muttered. Just need to synchronize The patterns on the walls suddenly pulsed with brilliant blue light, and a crystal console emerged from the floor before them. At its center sat a glowing blue crystal that seemed to contain galaxies within its depths. I think, Dr. Shen said slowly, it wants us to interact with it. Lena stepped forward. Cover me, she told Valkaz, then reached out and placed her hand on the crystal. Light exploded through her mind. Images, concepts, emotions too alien to comprehend yet somehow familiar. She saw the ship's creators, a species of towering crystalline beings who had evolved on a world bathed in the light of a binary star system. She felt their dedication to healing worlds damaged by war, pollution, and natural disaster. She understood the ship's purpose, not to destroy, but to restore. And she learned its name, Aurorax, the Dawnbringer. As the connection faded, Lena found herself back in the chamber, her team watching her with concern. Commander, Valks asked uncertainly. I know what to do, Lena said, her voice steady despite the overwhelming experience. Okonkwo, route our communication systems through the coordinates I'm about to give you. Dr. Shen, help me formulate a message. As the attacking ships continued their assault, Lena worked quickly, translating what she had learned into terms the aggressors might understand. The ghost ship, the Aurorax, had come to their region of space centuries ago to restore planets damaged during a civil war. The attacking species, the Vosheri, had misinterpreted its purpose, believing it intended to transform their worlds against their will. "Transmission ready," Okonkwo reported. "Send it," Lena ordered. "And prepare for the worst." The message streamed out into space, carried by the Aurorax's powerful communication array. For several tense moments, nothing changed. The Vosheri continued their attack, their weapons gradually weakening the ancient vessel's shields. Then, abruptly, the assault ceased. "They're responding," Park reported from the Pathfinder. Text only. The message appeared on their displays. "Humans, you claim knowledge of the World Eater's purpose. We have ancient warnings about this vessel. If you speak truth, prove it." Lena turned to her team. "The ship showed me how to activate its primary function. If we can demonstrate its true purpose, maybe they'll listen. Or they might interpret any action as an attack," Valks warned. "It's a risk we have to take," Lena decided. She approached the crystal console again, placing both hands on its surface. This time, she directed her thoughts deliberately, focusing on what the Aurorax had shown her. The ancient vessel responded immediately. The humming intensified as energy coursed through systems that had been dormant for centuries. Outside, the ship's appearance began to change. What had appeared to be weapon ports blossomed open like flowers, revealing crystalline matrices that captured and refracted light. Armor plating shifted, becoming transparent in places to reveal vast internal gardens and seed vaults. On the tactical display, they could see the Vosheri ships retreating to a safe distance, obviously surprised by the transformation. "Send them the visual feed," Lena ordered. "Let them see what this ship really is." As the Aurorax continued its awakening, Lena felt a growing connection with the ancient vessel, a sense that something momentous was about to occur, something that would change the course of human history in this region of space. And through the newly transparent sections of the hull, they could see the first light of a distant star touching the ship's surface, bathing it in a golden glow that seemed to pulse with life and promise. The dawn had arrived. Evelation's light. The golden light of the distant star filtered through the now transparent sections of the Aurorax, casting prismatic patterns across the chamber where Lena and her team stood. The ancient vessel continued its transformation, systems activating in cascading sequences that sent waves of energy pulsing through its structure. "Commander," Park's voice came through the comm, "the Vosheri have ceased all aggressive actions. They're maintaining position at a distance of 500,000 kilometers. They're watching," Valkas observed, her gaze fixed on the tactical display, "waiting to see what happens next." Dr. Shen had been analyzing the data streaming from the awakening ship. "This is remarkable," he said, his voice filled with wonder. "The Aurorax isn't just a terraforming vessel. It's a repository of biological and ecological knowledge spanning thousands of worlds." Okonkwo nodded, equally impressed. "The engineering principles at work here, they're beyond anything in our understanding. This ship doesn't just terraform. It analyzes, adapts, and evolves its approach based on each world's specific needs." Lena felt the ship's consciousness brushing against her mind, not invasive, but inviting. Through this connection, she understood what was happening. The Aurorax was awakening fully for the first time in centuries, but the process was incomplete. It needed something more. "It wants to communicate directly with the Vosheri," she told her team, "to show them the truth of its purpose. Can we facilitate that?" Dr. Shen asked. Before Lena could answer, a new message came through from the Vosheri fleet. "Human vessel, we are sending a delegation to investigate your claims. Prepare to receive our representatives." "This could be a trap," Valks warned. "I don't think so," Lena replied. They could have continued their attack. The fact that they're willing to talk suggests they're uncertain about their own historical accounts. Through the Aurorax's sensors, they watched as a small shuttle detached from the largest Vauchery vessel and approached. The ancient ship automatically opened a docking port, its internal systems reconfiguring to accommodate the visitors. "Okonko, Dr. Shen, with me," Lena ordered. "Valkes, maintain position here and keep an open channel to the Pathfinder." They made their way through corridors that were now alive with light and activity. Plants that had been dormant for centuries were unfurling in hydroponic chambers. Maintenance drones, elegant, crystalline constructs, moved efficiently through the ship, repairing systems and tending to the awakening biological samples. When they reached the docking area, the Vauchery shuttle had already arrived. The airlock cycled, and three figures emerged, tall, insectoid beings with iridescent exoskeletons and compound eyes that reflected the ship's light in kaleidoscopic patterns. The central figure, larger than the others and adorned with intricate metallic decorations, stepped forward. When it spoke, its mandibles clicked rhythmically, and a translator device on its thorax converted the sounds to English. "I am Hive Commander Vexala of the Vauchery Concordat. You have placed yourselves in grave danger by awakening the World Eater." Lena met the alien's multifaceted gaze steadily. "The vessel you call the World Eater is actually named Aurorax, the Dawnbringer. It was created to restore damaged worlds, not destroy them." Vexala's antennae twitched skeptically. "Our historical records are clear. This vessel approached 15 Vauchery colonies 300 cycles ago. Wherever it went, our industrial centers were destroyed, replaced by uncontrolled biological growth that ruined centuries of development." "Not destroyed," Dr. Shen interjected gently. "Healed. The Aurorax detected ecological collapse on those worlds and intervened to prevent total biosphere failure." The second Vauchery, wearing the insignia of a scientist, moved closer to examine the nearby wall panels. "These patterns, they match fragments preserved in our oldest archives. Fragments our traditionalist faction claims were deliberately suppressed." Vexala chittered sharply, a sound their translator didn't convert. "Archivist Kizin, you forget yourself. Those are merely theories, not established fact." The third Vauchery, who had remained silent until now, stepped forward. Unlike the others, this one's exoskeleton was age, with patches of faded color suggesting great age. "Perhaps," the elder Vauchery said, "it is time we confronted the inconsistencies in our historical narrative." A tense silence followed this statement. Lena could sense the political undercurrents flowing between the three Vauchery. Clearly, there were factions within their society with different perspectives on their own history. Okonkwo cleared his throat. "Commander, I believe the Aurorax wants to show them something." As if on cue, the chamber's walls reconfigured, revealing a vast holographic projection space. The lights dimmed, and the ship began to display its historical records, showing the Vauchery worlds before, during, and after its intervention centuries ago. The images were stark. Planets with poisoned atmospheres, acid rain dissolving natural formations, vast industrial complexes belching toxins into once pristine environments. Then came the Aurorax's arrival, not as a destroyer, but as a healer, deploying specialized biological agents that neutralized pollutants, restored atmospheric balance, and reintroduced native species that had been driven to extinction. Most tellingly, the record showed the Vauchery themselves, not as the unified civilization they now appeared to be, but as two distinct factions locked in bitter conflict. One group had welcomed the Aurorax's intervention. The other, controlling the industrial and military infrastructure, had attacked it. "The Schism War," the elder Vauchery whispered. "The forbidden history our younglings are never taught." Vexala's compound eyes reflected the holographic images, mandibles working silently as the commander absorbed the implications. "If this is true, our entire civilization is built on a foundation of lies." "Not lies," Lena suggested diplomatically. "Perhaps selective memory. It's not uncommon for societies to reframe painful episodes in their past." The elder Vauchery turned toward Vexala. I am old enough to remember my great progenitor's stories, tales of how our ancestors fought against those who would poison our worlds for profit, how a great ship came from the stars to aid those who sought to protect our natural heritage. As they spoke, Lena felt the Aurorax reaching out again, not just to her this time, but to all present. The crystal console at the center of the chamber pulsed with intensifying light. "It wants to show us more," she said. I think it wants to create a direct connection." The elder Vosheri moved forward without hesitation, placing one chitinous appendage on the crystal surface. After a moment's hesitation, Archivist Kizin joined, followed reluctantly by Vexala. Lena completed the circle, placing her hand alongside theirs. The connection was immediate and profound, a melding of minds across species boundaries, facilitated by the ancient consciousness of the Aurorax. Through this link, they experienced the ship's purpose with perfect clarity. It had been created by a species long extinct, the Luminary, who had evolved beyond physical form and departed the galaxy eons ago. Before leaving, they had created vessels like the Aurorax to continue their work, preserving life, healing damaged worlds, and guiding younger species towards sustainable development. When the connection faded, Vexala stepped back, mandibles clicking rapidly, a sign of strong emotion. "Our oldest myths speak of the bright ones who seeded the stars with life. We thought them mere legends. Many myths contain kernels of historical truth," Dr. Shen observed. The Aurorax shuddered suddenly, and alarms began to sound throughout the vessel. Okonkwo rushed to a nearby control panel. "Multiple system failures across the ship," he reported urgently. "The awakening process is destabilizing. The centuries of dormancy have taken a greater toll than we realized." "Can we help?" Lena asked. The elder Vosheri stepped forward. "Perhaps we can. Our biochemical technology is advanced, a legacy, I now realize, of what the Aurorax taught our ancestors before the schism. My vessel carries stabilization equipment that might be adapted," Vexilla added, setting aside previous suspicions in the face of this new crisis. Lena nodded gratefully. "Okonkwo, coordinate with the Vosheri. Dr. Shin, contact the Pathfinder. We need every engineer and scientist they can spare." What followed was a remarkable collaboration. Humans and Vosheri working side by side to save an ancient vessel created by a species that had transcended physical existence. As word spread through the Vosheri fleet, more shuttles arrived carrying specialists and equipment. The Pathfinder moved closer, establishing direct docking with the Aurorax to facilitate the transfer of personnel and resources. Lieutenant Park, arriving with a team from the Pathfinder, stared in awe at the vast internal gardens now visible through the transparent hull sections. "It's like nothing I've ever seen," he whispered. "Focus, Lieutenant," Lena reminded him gently. "We have work to do." For 3 days they worked without rest, addressing cascading system failures as the ancient vessel struggled to complete its awakening. The humans contributed their adaptability and innovative problem-solving. The Vosheri provided their advanced biochemical expertise and greater physical strength. Throughout it all, the Aurorax guided them, its consciousness touching their minds when direct communication was needed. On the 4th day, as exhaustion began to take its toll, Archivist Kizin made a breakthrough. "The primary life support matrix is rejecting the new growth," she explained, her translator struggling to keep pace with her excited clicking. "The ship has evolved during its dormancy, developing new biological components that the original systems don't recognize. An immune response," Dr. Shen realized. "The ship's trying to protect itself from what it perceives as an infection. We need to convince it that these changes are beneficial," Okonkwo suggested. "Reprogram the recognition protocols." The elder Vosheri, who had revealed his name as Truth Speaker Zelvex, placed a gnarled appendage on the crystal console. "Not reprogram," he said. "Remind. The ship needs to remember what it truly is, not just a machine or a vessel, but a living entity capable of growth and change." As Zelvex connected with the Aurorax, the others joined him. "Lena, Dr. Shen, Vexala, and representatives from both human and Vauchery crews. Together, they formed a bridge between past and present, helping the ancient consciousness recognize that evolution was not a threat, but the fulfillment of its purpose. Gradually, the alarms subsided. The ship's systems stabilized, accepting the changes that centuries of dormancy had wrought. What emerged was something new, neither purely the creation of the long-departed luminary, nor entirely the product of natural evolution, but a synthesis of both, guided by the collective input of humans and Vauchery. As stability returned, the Aurorax revealed its true capabilities. It was not merely a terraforming vessel. It was a seed ship designed to help species like humanity and the Vauchery take their first steps into a wider cosmic community. Its databases contained the accumulated knowledge of thousands of civilizations, most long extinct, preserved for those who would come after. "This changes everything," Vexala said, standing with Lena on an observation deck as they watched the ship's exterior transform. What had once appeared as weapon ports and armor plating now revealed their true nature: ecological analysis arrays, seed dispensers, and atmospheric processors, all designed to bring life to barren worlds. "It offers us a choice," Lena replied, "to learn from the mistakes of those who came before us, or to repeat them." Truth speaker Zelvex joined them, his ancient eyes reflecting the starlight. Already, word spreads through the Concordat. The old stories are being remembered, histories revised. There will be resistance from those who profit from our current path, but truth has a power all its own. "What will happen to the Aurorax now?" Dr. Shen asked. The answer came not in words, but in a shared vision. The ancient vessel continuing its journey, but not alone. It would remain in this region of space for a time, guiding both humans and Vauchery in the restoration of worlds damaged during the Schism War. Eventually, it would move on, following the path laid out by its creators eons ago, but it would leave behind knowledge and technology to help both species continue its work. "We should establish a joint research outpost," Lena suggested, "a place where our peoples can work together to study what the Aurorax has to teach us." Vexala, who had once been prepared to destroy the ancient vessel, now nodded in agreement. "The stars reaching accord," the commander proposed, "a new beginning for both our species." As they spoke, the first light of a new day touched the transformed hull of the Aurorax, its crystalline surfaces capturing and refracting the radiance into countless rainbow patterns. What had once been mistaken for a weapon of war now revealed itself fully as a beacon of life and hope. The dawn had truly broken, not just for the ancient vessel, but for all who had encountered it. In the shadows between stars, humanity had found not just new allies, but a legacy left by those who had journeyed this way before. A legacy of healing, growth, and the endless possibility of new beginnings. The ghost ship, once feared as a warrior, now stood revealed as what it had always been: a gardener of worlds, a keeper of knowledge, and a bridge between past and future, awaiting those with the wisdom to understand its true purpose.